Welcome to the print room of PrintStart 3D, and today we got something big on the table. This is the Neptune 4 Max, and we're going to unbox it, set it up, and review it. Let's give you a little tour of the print room real quick. We got the Prusa Mark 3S Plus, we got a Cobra 3 combo, we got two Bambu Lab X1 carbons, we got a P1S from Bambu Lab, got a Quiddy X Max here, we got a CR10 Max from Creality down there, and over here for resin printers we got the Photon Mono M7 Pro, the Photon Mono M5S Pro, we got the Mono 4 Ultra, we got the big boy Mono M7 Max down there, as well as another Mono M7. So that's what I'm rocking in the print room right now. We also got a Cobra 2 Plus right here, which I have to repair with a power supply and a little switch that I broke as well. That's gonna be later. Haven't really gotten that yet. Here we got the Neptune 4 Max straight from Shenzhen Elegoo Technology Co. And we're gonna unbox this bad boy, so let's give it a shot. You're gonna see how big this box is. It's massive, and it's here. So let's unbox it. The knife in hand. Close as I can get right here. Look at this. See what's in the box? We got a big piece of foam. All right, we're switching back to the wide angle because this baby's big. Just little insert pieces. Okay, looks like we got the whole toolkit here. It's gonna set this aside for later. Looks like the power cable and accessories. Got the filament roller, and it just rolled off the table. Already doing its job. Elegoo build platform glue stick. And of course, we have notice before first use here, and we got the user manual as well. Put that baby down. And this is the massive fan system. It's got an on and off switch there. Put that guy down, get the hot end. Put it right here. And this thing is huge. It's not quite as big as the CR10 Max, but it's pretty close. It is pretty close. Get the foam pieces out of there. All right. So we can lift this whole thing out, and we're just gonna place it right here for now. It's a lot of foam. It's good. It's nicely packaged. You can see the build plate is massive. Let's take off the build plate, compare it to the CR10 Max real quick. Honestly, the CR10 Max is kind of hot garbage. I would not recommend it. I spent a lot of money on it and I wasted my money. So here is the build plate. It's about 1.5 inches on this side, about 1 inch on this side. So yeah, the Elegoo Neptune 4 Max is definitely a rival to the CR10 Max. And we're gonna put that, it is a magnetic build plate, which is really nice. And what do we got over here? Looks like the controller. That's the screen. It's got a little stretchy cable on there. If you can move it away from the machine when you're using it, looks like. More foam. Just watch out for the connectors there. Shouldn't be a problem. We got a lot of wires and stuff to connect. So let's lift this guy out of here and then put it on the table. This thing is big. That is big, guys. Right, we're just gonna set it up here for now. Always double check the foam. Like here, I just missed something down there. These are the stabilizer bars. Definitely gonna need that. You got double check, triple check. I think that's all good. And now let's get rid of this box. Let's move the print bed and pretty much the whole printer onto this surface here. It is pretty heavy, but not that heavy. Alright, something came off of there. It's like just like a motor stop for shipping. So these are just to protect the print bed from moving around. So you go under here, you still got some foam under there protecting the bed. You can see it is a large heated textured PEI build plate. It's also magnetic as well, like I mentioned earlier. These are all the little connectors. Tell you for the LEDs. It'll tell you filament detection. And this one, probably for the motor. No foam left. Something stopping the bed from moving. Also got more connectors on this side. The X-axis motor and something else. So if you look down there, these little guys, you gotta remove those blocks right there. Just take them out. Gonna move the bed back and forth and then pull them out just like that. You just move the print bed all the way forward and then you can remove these. And there should be some on the other side. And there's quite a bit of them. I got 4 right now. There's actually only 4 of them. Okay, so that's the full front position, and then route this cable just a little bit. It should be smooth, and you can see the tensioner right here. There's a tensioner. You got another tensioner, so this should be like, you kind of should be able to strum it a little bit, but it shouldn't be too loose. So there we go. And we're just gonna put it in the middle position, just like about right there. And we're still not done unboxing because we got the gantry here. This very large gantry. You want a large space for this printer, like it's pretty much gonna take up this entire table right here. That's all right, I'll just leave it in the middle of my print room. I just gently lift up on both sides, and it should come out just like that. And we're just gonna place it kind of like this. Watch out for these little white connectors here. I was gonna flip this around, but then I realized I'd be putting pressure on these little white connectors for the motors, and you don't want to do that. So we're gonna keep it backwards for now until we hoist it up, and then we are gonna mount it in these 2 holes right there, and then we're gonna connect all the stuff up, and it should be good to go. It's pretty simple. It's a big printer. There's just a lot to work on. I mean, smaller printers are the same way, but bigger printers, just more stuff to fall over, I guess. So we're just gonna leave it like this. I'm gonna bring over all of the stuff that was in the box, except for the big fan for now, and the controller. This is the user manual for the Neptune 4 Max, and we're gonna take a look at it. At this page, thank you for choosing the Elegoo product. This is the support email right there, Elegoo's website right there. These are the notes. Don't place the printer in vibrating or unstable environments. Do not touch the nozzle in heated bed when the printer is working, of course. After printing, please take note of residual temperature of the nozzle and clean the nozzle. Do maintenance frequently in high-speed moving parts. Children must be supervised. In case of emergency, cut off the power directly. So if you encounter the nozzle digging into the print surface, immediately turn it off to ground the machine, so make sure your plug is good. If you're not using it for a long time, just unplug it and remove the power cord. That's some basic stuff. Shooting guide, so it pretty much takes you through a bunch of situations that you might encounter here, like your model does not adhere to the print bed, the nozzle head is extruding anomalies, there's stepper motor problems, and some other stuff as well we're not going to look at right now. And here's the contents. This is the actual printer specs. Of course, the printer type is FDM, which stands for Fused Deposition Modeling. If you did not know, that means that there is a material being fused and it is being deposited to create the model essentially per layer. That's like melting plastic layer by layer. That's FDM printing. The maximum build volume is 420 by 480 millimeters. Print precision is plus or minus 0.1 millimeter. The pre-installed nozzle diameter is 0.4 millimeters. The print speed is between 30 and 500 millimeters per second. Regular printing speed is 250 millimeters per second, and then the maximum acceleration is 8,000 millimeters per second squared. And you got ambient environment temperature for the operating specifications. It operates between 5 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius. The maximum temperature of the nozzle is 300 degrees Celsius, which is really hot. So you can print some exotic materials on this printer, which is awesome, but it is not enclosed. So keep in mind this is open air printing here. ABS and like polycarbonate or some other materials might not print very well, but I'm sure you can get it to work if you figured it out. Maximum temperature of the heated bed is 85 degrees Celsius, which is cool. Slicer software is Cura. That's what Elegoo uses. I'm sure you could use Bamboo Slicer or whatever slicer, like Prusa Slicer, whatever you want, as long as you put in these settings, like the print volume and all that. So it takes STL or OBJ for the input file on the slicer, which is normal, and of course it outputs the G-code file. It has LAN network, Wi-Fi, and USB drive. For the input power, you got 120 volts to 220 to 240 volts, 50 to 60 hertz, and it outputs 24 volts for the power supply. And there's the machine size itself. It's 658 by 632 by 740 millimeters. That's the total machine size, and it weighs 18.1 kilograms. So it weighs about 35 pounds roughly. And let's go over the machine diagram here to get familiar with the machine that I'm about to put together. Alright, so we have on top, we got the filament spool holder. We have a filament detection sensor, so if it runs out of filament, it'll realize what's wrong. We got the spool arm holder. We have the rear cooling fan. That is the big fan that I pulled out of the box. And on the x-axis, you get a belt tensioner, which is nice. You have a Type-C interface on the front. You have a USB drive. You got a touch screen there. On the side of the printer, you got the LAN port. You can directly plug this into your Ethernet port, or you have a Wi-Fi signal receiver. And on the side of the printer, of course, you have the build platform. You have the motor coupling right there, which is what holds the Z-rods on. You have the X-axis motor stepper. You have the support strut, which is the big tube things I pulled out. You have the Y-axis belt tensioner, you have the Z-axis step motor, and here's everything that you get in the box. Base unit, gantry frame unit, screen support block, you got the screen itself, spiral cable for the screen. So it looks like, yeah, you can actually remove the screen and kind of hold it like a phone and be some couple feet away from the printer while you're using it, which is nice for the size of the printer, so you don't have to be always up close to the printer. You can kind of stand away and hold the screen if you want to and control the printer. You got spool holder, spool arm holder, filament detector, the rear cooling fan, Wi-Fi antenna, support strut, print head, the most important, and the power cable. And you get some tools. It looks like you got a USB in there, you got zip ties. I'm not really sure what that thing is, actually. You get some Allen key sets. You get a set of Allen keys, you get little wrenches for the nozzle. And there's all the fasteners you get as well. We're just gonna look at this real quick and then I will set it up. We're gonna install the hot end, install the gantry onto the actual printer machine itself. We're going to install the little screen holder, and then we're going to install the screen itself and the Wi-Fi antenna. Put on the filament holder, install the detector, install the cable to the hot end so the machine can communicate with the hot end. And then we're going to install the support rods as well. These support rods are extremely important for a printer of this size, as it will wobble back and forth, and these support rods make a triangular structure within the printer itself and immensely help it not wobble. And install the fan, and then we're going to connect all the wires: filament detection wire, x-axis wire, z-axis wire, and then a couple other ones which aren't actually labeled, so we'll figure that out. And then of course the most important thing when setting up a 3D printer is to make sure your input voltage is correct for your country. I believe for the USA it's I think it's 115. I'll have to double check online, honestly. And of course it tells you to adjust some of the y-axis sliders. The hot end will travel on rails with rubber wheels, and you can adjust the tightness of those wheels, and it's really important to have them at the right tightness. And of course the bed moves the same way. It'll roll on rails with rubber wheels that you can tighten up as well with the little wrench, and I'll show you how to do that if I need to. And the display screen looks pretty simple, looks like a 3D printer. Alright, tells you how to operate the cooling fan and all that. Here's a look at this page as well, so if you want to check it out. And this printer does have auto leveling, which is amazing, and it's pretty much going to tell you the basics of leveling a nozzle here and making sure that the nozzle is the proper distance from the print bed. And you can see this little diagram is pretty useful. If your nozzle is too close, then it'll be really thin on the print bed, and it'll also be skipping in a way. And you can see this little photo right there. Pretty much the nozzle's too close, so filament cannot come out, and it'll also come out too much at certain times if it's too close. So it's kind of a weird situation. You want it to be like B, not like C, where it's actually coming off the print bed. And this printer has a feature where you can adjust the nozzle height while printing, which is extremely helpful. So if you notice your printer is not quite doing its first layer well, you can try to adjust the height of the nozzle while printing, or after the first layer. Actually, you can adjust the height of the nozzle. And of course it goes through the software installation as well. And we're going into the slicer now. And of course LAN mode. I'll probably use LAN mode because I'm not gonna route a Ethernet all the way over here. And yeah, that is it. To actually set up the printer, I just wanted to show you guys a detailed look at the user manual just in case anyone needed reference. Let's get into it. They actually have a video, which is nice, an installation video on the USB. Alright, so right off the bat, I realized something kind of strange. It wants us to install the hot end first and then put on the gantry. What we're gonna do is swap these around. We're gonna put the gantry on first and then put on the hot end, because look at my gantry right now. It is sideways and I feel like it's gonna be kind of hard to put a hot end on that gantry while it's moving around and stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the gantry on first with these HM5 screws. I'm gonna get the gantry on and then put on the hot end. So we're gonna swap these around. Dig into this goodie bag here. Move some stuff out of the way. We don't need this right now. We don't need that. We don't need this. And we don't need this. Don't need that yet. And we will use this in a moment. So put that on the shelf. Let's get into this bag. Not quite a bit of stuff in here. That's all right. So we're gonna retrieve the HM5x45 screws, and also we're going to retrieve the Allen key set as well, and everything else we can just keep in the bag for now. And you can see it comes with a spare nozzle and a little Bowden tube for the extruder itself, which is really nice. Let's put that to the side. And everything is nicely labeled. It reminds me of Prusa actually. Everything was really good and labeled for Prusa, just like Elegoo has it now. Grab the HM/45s. Should have 4 in there. If you don't got 4, you got a problem. I'm gonna lay these guys here, and we don't need this bag anymore. And it should be the biggest Allen key in there. I'm just gonna verify that. Yep. And they have nice Allen keys, so these are pretty nice Allen keys. It's not just stuck in one angle. You can actually kind of rotate it around and twist it. It's not like a regular Allen key, so that's really nice. And for these, we can set them to the side. Now you'll notice 1, 2, 3, 4 holes on. There's 2 on each side, and if you put your finger there, you can feel the hole that the screw will enter. So the screw will go up in this way. I'll show you that now. What we're gonna do, scoot this over right here, put those right on the side, and then we have it laying down like this. What we're gonna do, we're gonna pick it up by both sides and just scoot it over just like that. This is kind of hanging off the edge, and it works. And we're gonna do something else that will help you a lot. Obviously we can't quite get the screw in there like that, okay? We're gonna pull this printer until those 2 holes are hanging off the side, and I'll show you what it's like. And you gotta be aware, there's 2 feet right here. It might kind of jolt itself a little bit here, and it'll jolt down right there, and just a little bit more, and perfect. What we're gonna do, we're gonna flip the gantry around so it's in the right position. Flip this guy around, just like so. Gantry will be sitting like that. Perfect. And now, we're gonna lift the gantry up and align it with these holes real quick. But this is probably the hardest part, and it's not even that hard, so just take it slow and be mindful of all these little connectors, because you don't want to break any of the little connectors. There will be 2 holes on the bottom right here. There'll be 2 holes, and we're just gonna set it down really gently, and it kind of like slots in there. There's a slot where the 2 holes are, and it'll kind of, you can hear it's in the slot. And now my hands are off of it. This thing will balance itself really carefully, but just balance it for now, and I'll show you what's next. We're gonna go down here, we're gonna find that hole, and we're gonna start it by hand and make sure it's not cross-threaded. How do you make sure a screw's not cross-threaded? Well, this is what you do. You push in, you get the screw right up to the threads, and you twist it to the left until you hear a click. So there it is, that's the click. I'll do it again. There it is, there's the click. So I know now I just turn it to the right. You want to have your hand on the gantry. I can't do it because I have a phone in my hand. You want to kind of just, you want to hear the click. There's the click, and then I'm kind of just ever so slightly aligning the gantry, but I'm still doing it by hand. Slightly pull back on the gantry just so there's a little bit of space between the motor and the machine, and that will begin. Just get it by hand as much as you can by hand, just like that. And if it's tight, if it's starting off tight, then you probably cross-threaded it, and you don't want to do that. Grab the next one and do the same thing. We're going to wait for the click. We're going to turn it left, press it against the threads and turn left, and you'll hear, I'm actually going the wrong way. There's the click again. Now I know I'm in the thread, so I'm going to start turning right. We're going finger tight, guys. Finger tight right now. All right, so it's in there. But do not tighten them down yet. Do not tighten them down yet. You want to do it in a cross pattern. Now that we have this side finger tight, we're gonna push it over to the edge and put the other screws in the other side. Now just like this. So now it's off the edge. We're gonna grab the screws and we're gonna go finger tight. The screws going in. There's the holes, and you can see they're lined up. I'm gonna pull back slightly on the gantry and hear the click. When I push in and turn left, and I turn left, you hear the click. That's the thread setting into position. Now I can turn to the right, and that's how you avoid cross threading, and kind of just wiggle that thing back and forth just a little bit to get it finger tight, just like that. Now we're gonna do the same thing, and you hear the click, and now it's in there. So now we're gonna go finger tight. And remember, if your machine is put together properly and it's maintained properly, it'll print a lot better. Rocking back and forth, which is perfect. And you can see it's a little bit, it likes to kind of pop out a little bit. What we're gonna do here, we're not gonna go extremely tight right now, but just finger tight. So that's all I can do, finger tight. And then we're gonna go on this side, and then now we're gonna scoot it over. Now we're gonna let it go to the edge again like that. And then we're gonna do finger tight on the outer screws, finger tight. So now the outer screws are finger tight with the key, but not torquing it down just yet. I'm gonna move it back over for like the 5th time. Now I'm gonna go to the inside screw, and this one just like that. I'm not going crazy tight. You can see it's still moving a little bit, which is good. Now I'm gonna go to the next one. Now I'm gonna go to the inside screw. Just get it finger tight. It's gonna help if you wiggle it a little bit. Make sure it's seated on there. So finger tight, and now, once they're all finger tight, I'm gonna start on the outside screw, and we're gonna torque it down just a little bit and make sure it's set in there. Now I'm actually putting torque on it and making sure they're tight. So you wanna start with the outside. So get that guy nice and tight. That's probably tight enough. And now, once again, we're gonna kind of star pattern it. And like I said, this is like the most annoying part. Now get the outside one. Let's get it tight. Now we can torque down this one as well, the other one. Now we have one more screw. Now we can do the inside of this one as well. And that should be good. That took a minute, but pretty much what I did was first got them all hand tight, and it was still loose, and then I did like a star pattern. So this one tight, and then the inside one tight, and then that one tight, and then I torqued them down in the same pattern. That will help you a lot when leveling this printer. Now we're gonna install the hot end here. There's 2 screw holes here, and then there's 3 here that go from the back. We're gonna grab the PM 3x14 and the PM 3x8. So there's 3 and 2, and the cable clamp. Also gonna remove this little saran wrap stuff on there as well. And there is the hot end, upside down. There's the hot end for the Elegoo Neptune 4 Max. We're gonna get all the Allen keys and stuff out as well. Start off with the PM 3x8, and they're gonna go in this hole and this hole right here. And they are going to line up with this hole and this hole right there. So it's gonna sit, just like that. We're gonna push it in with the Allen key. Always turn left until you hear the click. Alright, and it's going in pretty smooth, so it looks like it's threaded properly. And something smells so good right now outside. It's blowing in. Some good cooking. Now the other screw on the other hole, it's in there. And we can just tighten these guys down, just one after another. Not too much, but just enough. We're gonna take the PM 3x14 screws. Be 3 holes in the back. Gonna be these 2 right there. This 1 and 2, and then can't really see it. There's a hole right in between the wheels right there, which you're gonna put in a screw. That's gonna help mount up the hot end. All right, and this is just a cable clamp, so no need to go really hard on it. Put the cable clamp this way. All right, it should look like this. So now we're gonna get the PM 4x20s and install the screen holder. I'm gonna get this guy right here. All right, so this is the screen holder. There's 3 screw holes, 1, 2, 3, that we will go into. We got the screen holder on it. It does have a big magnet on there. Screen will disconnect and you can kind of hold it like a little phone, I guess, which is cool. So far the build quality on this thing seems pretty good, honestly, not gonna lie. So we'll see how it prints though. Let's get the little Wi-Fi connector and just get that guy screwed in there, just like so. And I think we can, yes, we can use this guy. All right. So you can use this long wrench on the Wi-Fi connector. And now we can install the screen. So we're just gonna plug it in, just like that. And yeah, it's magnetic for sure. So yeah, so if we wanna be far away, like that's kind of max length right there. So like 3 feet away pretty much, 3 or 4. Yeah, that's nice. And then it just goes right back on. All right, now for the next page. We're gonna get the PM4x18s and we're gonna install the spool holder on there. Spool holder and then 2 screws, 2 holes, and let's go check it out. All right, for the spool holder, it's gonna be connected by these little nuts right here, which are V-slot nuts. They just kind of slide wherever you want them to go, so feel free to put this spool holder. You probably want the spool holder near the sensor and go like right in the middle right there and put it on. The best way to get these little V-nuts is to kind of start spinning the screw and then go down on top of it and it should be good. Now we got it. There we go. Just like that. And for the other one, so we can loosen this and then slide it. So now we can slide it back and forth, and now we're gonna capture the next one the same way. So it's gonna get on there, move it back and move it back and forth. And it looks like we already got it. So there we go. So now this thing can slide back and forth. We're gonna put it about right here. No need to go crazy on these ones, it's just a spool holder. So we got an HM4x M3x3 screw right here, and it's gonna go in that little hole right there. And we also got the filament sensor, and it's got a connector on the side. So pretty simple. Let's put the screw in and get it going. And this thing looks like it moves around a little bit, so let's get it connected up and then tighten it down. So it looks like this thing kind of jiggles around. Let's see if I go tighter. No, it doesn't go tighter. Interesting. So this thing probably moves around, like stay in line with the filament possibly, and it has to move around. It's kind of interesting. Screw as tight as it can go, it's still wobbling around. Guessing that when the print head moves back and forth, this thing will follow the print head, but it is kind of feels like it's not right, but I think that's right. And of course, we're just gonna thread this bad boy on, and that is the spool holder. All right, so now we're gonna move to the side of the printer, and this big cable is gonna go all the way to the hot end. Kind of an interesting little thing here. It doesn't quite tell us how to do it, but so we're gonna take out the cable clamp. So the cable clamp looks like this, has a little plastic post right there, and that's gonna go into this hole, and then the screw will go into that hole, like just like that. Okay, so it looks like we want to go this way. Okay, so get the cable, the big boy, and slide cable through. It's kind of interesting design. And you also, I forgot to say, you also want to move this about halfway down. Gently push down on that and it'll lower itself. So I'm a little bit confused about this. I'm gonna just go for it. I think you just kind of fold it up a little bit, just like that. And then don't want these in there though. Take out the remaining ones. And then, so it looks like you kind of want to fold this in half right here, just like that. And then you go from this side. Yeah, pretty much fold the cable. And then you don't want that cable rubbing against the connector, even though it's really close. Here, maybe we can do this a better way, like this way. Yeah. And then that will stay just like that. And then we got the one screw that will go in there. Gonna push down on that screw. So it looks something like this. And this thing is really close. So this is probably my biggest complaint so far. Why is it designed like this? But anyways, it's all right. And then wrap this guy around here. It looks like we have our cable backwards a little bit. Okay, there we go. Open the little jaws, and then perfect. And then now we can route that cable in there. All right. You probably should route the cable before putting it in so you don't break it, because I almost broke it. My biggest concern is this cable rubbing against the Z-axis, and it's gonna get really dirty. It does that on one of my Bambu labs and it gets really dirty, so yeah. Alright, so that's the little diagram it gives you. We can check the slack. If there's not enough slack, you won't be able to move it all the way over, but we have enough slack. Just make sure the hot end can get all the way over, or you'll have to give it more slack right here. But all I did, I just put it at this little, I put it right here at this little black piece. All right, now we're gonna install the support pieces. These are gonna go in the top and these are gonna go in the bottom. Let's get these support rods. So this support piece is gonna go right there. Actually, probably on the inside. It should be like that. Actually, no, we're gonna do it on the outside. Put that guy in, just finger tight for now. And then we're gonna do the same thing on this side. Now we're gonna grab the washer, and there's just a hole right here, which it lines up perfectly. So nice, the washer. And we can go ahead and tighten these guys up just a little bit. You gotta remember that not too much torque on there, because this is aluminum and these are probably steel or whatever. So, you know, steel is harder than aluminum. So if you torque it too much, it'll ruin it. All right. Put the washer in. That's also why cross threading is a pretty big deal, because it's aluminum and it's soft. All right, that's as tight as I'm gonna go. Install this massive fan. I'm gonna get these big old boys out, the PM 4x50s, and these are long screws, probably the longest ones that I've seen during this build. This size right here, yeah. And this is the exhaust of the fan. This is what blows out. Essentially, it's pretty much gonna sit like this. So you got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just gonna poke the screw in just like that. Just easy as that, really. Just gonna do it pretty light right now, and now we can start torquing them down a little bit. There we go. Last step here is gonna be to wire it up. So we got the X-axis stepper motor, the Z-axis stepper motor, and then we got a couple other connectors. All right, this goes to the fan. Just plug it in. Looks like this is LED connected, and then we got filament detector and filament detector. Those are connected. We got the Z-axis. This is the Z-axis guy. It's gonna go into the motor right there, just like that. Bam. And then we got the X-axis up here, and it looks like we can just barely get that in there. There's not much slack on this guy, but it looks like we can do it. Gonna wrap it around and plug it in. Bam. So that's just a perfect amount of slack. And don't forget about this other Z-axis motor. I almost forgot. Just plug it in just like that. Bam. All right, guys. So let's clean up our workspace a little bit. So let's take out the USB right here, and you want to keep that spare nozzle. It's pretty important. And we're just gonna plug in the USB right here. So for USA, we're gonna be in 115 volts. If you're out of the USA, you're probably gonna use 230 volts. So I stuck a little Allen key in there, and I managed to flip the switch, and you can see 115. So here we got the cable, and we're gonna plug it in. Just like that. Let's plug it in. All right, let's take this off. Remove that little guy, and we're gonna power it on. Wow, it's got lights. It's got some nice LED lights. Wow. Wow. But we'll see how it works. So we can actually take off the screen and use it from a distance, which is really cool. Let me go through the first setup process here. All right, we got a little animated screen. Settings, all right. Whoa. So check it out, we got some lights, which is really good for social media content, because I'm always struggling with my lighting. Now let's go connect it to my Wi-Fi real quick. I won't show you this part. All right, so I'm on the Wi-Fi. And we are gonna go, I'm just gonna kind of look through this, get familiarized. That's cool, you can change the brightness on the screen. And level, confirm. All right, After entering the leveling page, place a sheet of A4 paper between the nozzle and the platform and adjust the height compensation values using the screen controls. Once you're in this leveling page, slide a piece of paper under your platform, just like this, and then go down, keep going down until there's friction, but not too much friction, just like a little bit of friction. Now click auxiliary, and then it'll give you 6 points. Go to 1, and then adjust the nut here. You can see up or down. We're gonna go up until you get just a little bit of friction. All right, and then go to 2 until there's a little bit of friction on the paper, just like that. And then go to 3. And then go up until there's friction, but not too much. All right, now go to 4. All right, now we're gonna rotate this one, and then go to 5. Now go to 6. See, I'm at number 6 now. And just slide that paper underneath. That's pretty good. And now we're gonna go into the auto leveling procedure. Once you are done leveling with the paper, go into the matrix and probe all of the points on the print bed. And then once that's done, you'll use the paper one last time to check the center position, and you can adjust it and then save it. You can see right now it's creating a matrix and probing each point, 36 points in total. And that's going to create a matrix of the bed's height relative to the sensor or the nozzle, and it'll pretty much auto level itself from that matrix, and it does it pretty quick. So after the leveling matrix, you'll be prompted with this screen right here. And what you want to do is have the piece of paper have slight friction under the nozzle. And that's a little bit too much friction right now. So we're going to move it up just a little bit, and actually just down one more. And you can feel the nozzle's friction on there. Let's try going down. We're going to go right there to 1.21, and now save this bad boy. That right there is the proper leveling process. We're actually gonna double check it real quick. We're gonna just go back to the leveling process and double check. Now there's not much friction there. Now there's friction, so we're gonna save that one. I made an error because honestly I assumed that the auto leveling was true auto leveling, like a Prusa or something, or the Bamboo Lab possibly, but you still have to adjust the nuts, make sure there's a little bit of friction. I guess it's not technically true auto leveling. There is still the manual knobs, the paper, and all that. Let's try it again. Let's print the Buddha, and hopefully it won't be grinding its gears. Let's try it, guys. Here we go. And you can see my mistake right there. I grinded in there pretty good. So yeah, I just kind of had a different thing in mind, I guess, for the leveling. I thought you just ran the matrix, and then I'll put that at the end of the video so you guys can skip ahead if you want to see my mistake, but I will edit it. You can see the entire process as it is, as it should be, and then I will kind of put, I guess, a blooper in there of me just completely breaking this printer, as you can see. But here we go. We're gonna try printing it. Hopefully it works this time, and yeah, let's see what happens. Preheated for the Buddha part 2. Let's get nice and close here. We can see what's going on. Alright guys, it's going. The leveling worked. You can see it. It's doing a brim. Now it's going on to the actual object. Alright, so the leveling with the paper seems to work. Wow, who would have thought the instructions were right?
Alright guys, so I guess I'll meet you back here in 39 minutes and we'll see the Buddha. Been about 30 minutes, or about 40 minutes I should say. Got this little guy getting printed out. Here we have the little Buddha, and it printed in 36 minutes, which is not bad. Let's get him off the build plate. And this is such a massive build plate, you can't really just, you gotta kind of, there we go. Now this is a bit stuck on there. We can just pull off the brim like that. You can see our mistake has vanished because it got pulled off with the print. Here is the little Buddha fresh off the printer. And let me know down in the comments what you think about this. See, the first layers are pretty good. Could have been a little bit better, maybe a little bit closer to the build plate. It's smooth. A little bit of layer lines. The resolution on this guy is really low. As you can see, all the layer lines and the steps right there. But yeah, 38 minutes for a printer this big. I'd say that's a success. A few things I want to mention, I want to talk about. There is no alignment pieces for the print bed, so you could easily just kind of slap it down wherever. It's not, there is no alignment pieces in the back like on the Bamboo Lab printers. That's something I noticed. Another thing is this big cooling piece. It could potentially impact your prints. If your print is failing, it could impact into this. Another thing is these cables are really close to this Z-axis rod, so they probably will end up rubbing against there, and I already can see a little bit of black on the Z-rods themselves. This thing will just kind of wobble around. A downside, yeah, those are probably my downsides so far. Another downside for me is that you actually have to use a piece of paper to level it, even though it does say auto leveling and it has a sensor and everything. For example, my Prusa, my really old Prusa, it has a fixed bed and it just prints perfectly every time pretty much. No problems with leveling that. Or like my Bamboo printer, it does have leveling knobs, but you never touch those pretty much. You know, once you get it set up and running, I think it's a pretty good printer. We'll have to test it more. Pluses on this printer. The plus side is that it comes with a beautiful, really nice textured PEI build plate. That's a big plus. It's got tensioners on all the axes as well. Another big plus is that you can remove this screen and actually kind of, you know, I'm like 4 or 5 feet away right now, so that's nice. And it just magnetizes back on. And the big plus is the light. So if you're into social media or anything like that, you're gonna want this printer because it has lights on it and it's gonna help you a lot. And of course you can print helmets, you can print armor, because it's big. You know, build quality's nice. It's metal. You got all metal pretty much on the top. a little bit of plastic here. You know, we got metal there. It's not bad for a big printer, and it prints up to 500 millimeters per second, but I don't even run the Bamboo at 500 millimeters per second. That's kind of just advertising. I would suggest 250 to 300 millimeters per second. Also, this big print fan is blowing this way, right? You have to keep in mind the orientation of your model on the print bed. For example, if I had Buddha facing this way, the fan would be blowing towards the front of the model. If it was like that, it would be the side. Like that, it would be his back. So you have to kind of orientate your models depending on this blower situation. If you want more cooling in certain areas, you got to kind of think about that. Let me know what you think down below. Is this a printer you would buy? It's pretty cheap right now. It's about like $400. I think it's around $400 right now, Black Friday deals. That is the setup of the Elegoo Neptune 4 Max. I'm definitely going to be printing more on it, so stay tuned. Watch out for the videos on my page. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, on Facebook. We're on Threads. We're on all of it. Yeah, we'll definitely test this guy out. Stay tuned for more, and thank you so much for watching, guys. Alright, so I already preheated the print bed, so I wouldn't have to wait very long. There it goes. It's priming the nozzle. Oh, so let's adjust the offset. Oof. Wow, guys, so it just grinded itself into the print bed, which is really surprising because I just leveled it and everything, and I don't know why. It just like ruined the nozzle pretty much. That's wonderful. I'm not doing anything wrong. I literally just leveled it, and it gave me the Z offset and everything. That's insane, guys. So it just grinded it into the print bed, which is really weird. So if that happens, guys, just shut off the power, recalibrate,